Welcome to Channel 44. It's a beautiful morning here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. I am Mercy Gashego Simbatia. To bring you this morning's news update, I'll be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language and interpretation. Well, we'll start with what's happening in the New Vision today. Companies rush for 25 trillion shillings oil deal. 2,700 firms have so far registered, and 61,533 workers have been employed. It's in today's New Vision. Get the details on page 3. And also, the New Vision brings you Uganda, Vietnam seal deals in ICT. They bring you President Yoweri Museveni and Vietnam's Nguyen Xuan witnessing the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on Information and Communications by the ICT ministries of both countries. Uganda was represented by Dr. Abalio Monsi and Vietnam by Nguyen Martin Mahn Hun. This was at the Vietnamese presidential palace in Hanoi. It's in today's New Vision. And also, the New Vision brings you about the World Cup, why England needs Kane against USA. It's in today's New Vision. And also, they bring you how to pass Senior 1 Biology and Maths, Senior 2 Kiswahili. We'll go now to the Daily Monitor. Has a big headline: officials use rats to eat COVID cash. Yeah, that's what the Daily Monitor is saying, that officials used rats to eat COVID cash. A forensic audit report by the Auditor General states that the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovations violated procurement rules, contracted firms that were not pre-qualified to provide services, and bought fewer rats than budgeted for research during the COVID-19 pandemic. Details are in today's Daily Monitor. And then also, Uganda signs pact with Vietnam. They bring you President Museveni inspecting a guard of honor in Vietnam. He said it added that Uganda has signed several cooperation agreements with Vietnam and 2 other countries to strengthen bilateral ties. The signing of deals in 4 areas of technical scientific cooperation, agriculture, ICT and health were witnessed by President Museveni and his Vietnam counterpart Nguyen Xuan Phuc in today's Daily Monitor. In the Daily Monitor, there are job opportunities at Future Sourcing, COECC, MONUSCO, Enabel, PEDU, Maristops, WWF, among others. And also in other news, 200 billion shillings lost to power vandalism annually. That's according to the minister. And Besigye outlines plan for regime change. And also, government to train 50,000 city borders. The Ministry of Works and Transport, in partnership with Kampala Capital City Authority and the police, have embarked on training 50,000 borders on road use. And in the sports segment of the Daily Monitor, FIFA has given Roger Milla an award for being the oldest football player to score a goal for the World Cup. Milla was 42 when he scored a goal against Russia, the 1994 edition of the tournament. Congratulations to Roger Milla. And now we'll go straight into our international news update. I'll now be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. In today's international news, the finance ministers of Ghana and Zimbabwe have been delivering their annual budgets amid the cost of living crisis that has hit the world all over. Both announced an increase in value-added tax, which you pay when you buy goods. In Ghana, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who is under pressure to resign because of the deepening economic crisis, pushed it up from 22.5% to 15%. In some good news for Ghanaians, the Finance Minister cut the tax on all electronic transactions from 1.5% to 1% barely a year after its introduction. In Zimbabwe, the tax on foreign currency transactions has been halved to 2%, while a banking tax for the purchase of wheat has been dropped to keep bread prices low. And in Ethiopia, African Union mediators are visiting Ethiopia's war-devastated Tigray region in their latest effort to implement a peace deal signed by the federal government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front. Nigeria's former President Olusegun Obasanjo and South Africa's former Deputy President Phumzile Mlambo are in the regional capital Mekelle for talks with the TPLF leaders. This is their first visit to Mekelle since the peace deal was signed on the 2nd of November. Little food, medication and other essentials have reached Tigray, despite Mr. Obasanjo saying on the 12th of November that aid should have gone in yesterday. The region has been under a government blockade since the war started more than 2 years ago. Some researchers estimate that famine, a lack of health care and fighting has caused the deaths of more than 3,000 civilians. Yes. Moving on, former German Chancellor Angela Merkel has defended her policy towards Russia prior to the February invasion of Ukraine. She's saying she had run out of power to influence Vladimir Putin. She said she had tried to convene European talks with the Russian president and French President Emmanuel Macron in the summit of 2021. After 4 terms as Chancellor, Mrs. Merkel left office in December. She paid a final visit to Moscow in August 2021 and told the German news magazine that the feeling was very clear. In terms of power politics, she is finished. In the United States, writer E. Jean Carroll has sued Donald Trump in the U.S. state of New York for allegedly raping her in the 1990s. Ms. Carroll is among the first to sue under the Adult Survivors Act, which came into effect yesterday. The state law allows a 1-year period for victims to file sexual assault lawsuits in New York over claims that would have otherwise exceeded statute limitations. The former president has denied the allegations against him. Ms. Carroll alleges that the attack took place in a New York luxury department store dressing room 27 years ago. And on the Russian-Ukraine war, Ukraine has said that as much as 50% of the country's electricity needs are currently not being met after a massive Russian missile strikes happened this week. The Ukrainergo power operator said the priority was to fix key infrastructure, but repairs were now taking more time. President Volodymyr Zelensky said the most difficult situation with power as well as water supply was in 15 regions, including the capital, Kyiv. Across Ukraine, winter is setting in with snow and sub-zero temperatures. There are fears that people across the country could die of hypothermia. And moving on, Elon Musk says Twitter will provide a general amnesty to some suspended accounts from next week.